Hey, this is Stacy from Let's Cook, y'all. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new, welcome. We're so glad you're here. We hope you enjoy these cooking videos and our weekly What's for Dinner, and you'll consider hitting that red subscribe button. If you have some pepperoni on hand, say you got it to make a pizza or just for a snack and you're looking for ideas to use the rest of the package or just something fun new to try, we've got several recipes in this video that use pepperoni. Hope you enjoy. The first recipe is an easy pepperoni cheese bread that uses pantry ingredients. You'll just need some pepperoni, 2 kinds of cheeses, some seasoning, and you'll need either a roll of French bread or pizza dough, or you can also use some frozen bread dough like the Rhodes bread dough that's in the freezer section. And you'll also need an egg to make a little egg wash to brush on top, which is my addition. And let me show you how we make this one. Roll out your bread dough into a long rectangle. I'm going to spread it out as best I can, try not to tear it, and form it into a large rectangle. And then we're going to spread a generous layer of mozzarella cheese. You can grate your own or use the bagged kind. Then add some Parmesan cheese. You can use the kind from the green can. I just prefer this kind grated or shredded from the deli. Then I add some Italian seasoning and start laying out my pepperoni. Now the only hard part to this recipe is actually folding it up. You're going to go long ways, and what I do is pull from the bottom halfway to the middle and then pull from the top. I pinch all the seams together and try to keep both the middle seam and each end sealed, and then very gently flip it over on its side so that the seam side is down on your cookie sheet. Then get a knife and cut about 7 or 8 shallow diagonal slits in the top of the dough to let the bread vent. And then my addition to the original recipe, and I will have a recipe link listed below, is I take an egg wash, which is just beaten egg and water, and brush it on with a pastry brush. Sprinkle on a little more Italian seasoning and some Parmesan cheese. Now it's ready to go into a preheated 350-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. I think it took about 23 in mine, but just check it in yours. Every oven's different. And ta-da! This is what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. Ideally, you should let it sit and rest and cool a little bit for about 5 or 10 minutes. Tim could not wait. Ours was really hot, and I had to get him to help me cut it. But he was ready to eat, and it is delicious. It is ooey and gooey and cheesy. This makes a great amount for 2 people. If I was cooking for more than 2, I would double it and make 2 loaves. But this is pepperoni cheese bread. The next recipe is a pizza dip. It is ooey gooey and delicious. It uses pantry ingredients for me. You'll need a hand mixer and also a deep dish pie plate, some softened cream cheese, sour cream, oregano, garlic powder, a dash of cayenne pepper. I'm using yellow onion today. The original recipe calls for green onion, but either one will work. Some pizza sauce, either homemade or store-bought, some mozzarella, and of course the pepperoni. We'll start off by making the base layer for the dip. In a mixing bowl, I add my 8 ounces of softened cream cheese and the sour cream, and then the seasonings. And again, the recipe is listed below. I will put the top on my little bowl and get my hand mixer out. Once that's all mixed together, we will spread it in the bottom of our greased deep dish pie pan. On top of the cheese layer, you'll add some pizza sauce. You can use store-bought or jarred or some homemade, and I've included our recipe for homemade pizza sauce. After you get that spread around, you will start adding some diced up pepperoni and the green onions or diced yellow onion. This recipe has a 2-step oven bake time. This base layer of cheese and sauce we will put in and bake in a 350-degree oven for 10 minutes, and then we'll take it out and add some shredded mozzarella and put some more Italian season on it, and then put it back in our same 350-degree oven for another 10 minutes and so, or until everything's all melted and gooey. We eat this one hot out of the oven with chips. We usually prefer tortilla chips, but probably Fritos or anything else you like would work. This is our pizza dip. If you watch our weekly What's for Dinners, you'll know that this year is the year that I learned to work with egg roll wrappers. One of the variations we tried was a pizza egg roll, and I do try 2 or 3 different variations with egg roll wrappers. You want to keep them wet while you're using them, and I put some pepperoni and then cheese on this variation, and of course I used an egg wash to seal it. You fold in each side and come up from the bottom, making like an envelope shape, and then roll it up. I also tried another variation where I put some of the pizza sauce on the bottom. These didn't work quite as well. They were good, they just tended to burst. And then layer the pepperoni and a piece of mozzarella string cheese. And I don't think I showed it on camera, but I tried a third variation that had no sauce, a layer of pepperoni, then string cheese, and then another layer of pepperoni, so it was a double-decker pepperoni, and I think these were our favorite. I'm going to try these. They're different ways. Some have sauce, some don't. Some are double-decker with the pepperoni, some are not. I'm going to experiment at 350, 5 minutes on the first side and 3 on the second, and spray both sides really well. We did these in our air fryer, but you can also bake them in the oven. I think they would probably cook in about 20 minutes at 400. You would need to flip them halfway. The ones with the sauce kind of got a little soggier and burst, so we decided we liked the variation that did not have sauce in it, the double-decker one that I mentioned. We just served these with some warm marinara or pizza sauce for dipping, and these pizza egg rolls are a fun and easy snack. Another really quick snack I've made for many years using pepperoni and crescent rolls are what we call pepperoni crescents. You just lay out each triangle of the crescent rolls, put some sliced pepperoni down at the long end, usually 3 or 4 slices. I have made this using string cheese. I've made this using sliced white cheddar or slices of like a white pepper jack or Monterey Jack just from a block. You'd lay the cheese on top and then roll them up. If you were baking these in the oven, you just bake them on a cookie sheet for the time that it says to bake the can of crescent rolls, but we're going to try these in our air fryer as well. I like not having to wait for my oven to preheat. This is the variation that had sliced cheese. We put them in the air fryer basket and cooked them for 7 minutes at 350, and they were done. But again, you can also do these in the oven. We serve these just with marinara or pizza sauce for dipping, and these are pepperoni crescents. The next pepperoni recipe is a pepperoni pizza pie, and I will leave a link to the website we got this from. I do add a little bit more seasonings. You'll start off with 8 ounces of cheese. You can shred your own or use it from a bag. You'll also need a deep dish or regular frozen pie crust. To mix up the custards, you combine 1 12-ounce can of evaporated milk, 3 beaten eggs, and about 2 tablespoons of flour. And then you go ahead and add in the seasonings, which are basil, Italian seasoning, and garlic powder, and I usually add more, at least a teaspoon of each of these, and probably a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. That's a little more than the original recipe calls for. You'll get that all mixed up. Spread out half of the shredded cheese on the bottom of the pie crust, and then start layering in the pepperoni, about half of it, and then the custard. This probably should have been a deep dish pie crust. I think that's what I used last time. Did not have that in my notes, but I will update the recipe and next time use a deep dish. It might all fit. Maybe not. To the top of the custard, you'll put the rest of the cheese and the rest of the pepperoni, lay it out, and then very carefully move it to the oven. Bake it for 350 for about 40 to 45 minutes. Since most pepperoni recipes require pizza sauce, I like to keep this on hand. I've always got a bag in my freezer. My pizza sauce recipe, we'll leave a link to it. It uses 1 15-ounce can of tomato sauce, 1 small can of tomato paste, which I find is easier to whisk the tomato products together before I start adding the seasonings. I've gone ahead here in this video and just mixed them all together in a little ramekin, but you'll need 2 teaspoons each of basil and oregano, a couple of good dashes of Italian seasoning, 1½ teaspoons of garlic powder, and then ½ a teaspoon each of paprika, onion powder, and sugar. I use no salt tomato sauce, so I always add a good dash of salt. I keep this on hand in the freezer. Thanks so much for stopping by and watching. Take care and have a wonderful and truly blessed day.